And
So where is the dinar and dirham predominantly used? Is it just Malaysia or Indonesia, ASEAN, Middle East, European countries, or the Americas, or is it a combination of various countries?
And in the year 1992, we minted the first gold dinar. So this is where it all started.
Right.
And we simply sold out every time, every mint it was sold out.
Right.
And then the interest, our natural inclination was to speak with North African brothers, Arabs, and we talked to them. And the expansion was very rapidly moving among individuals.
Right.
So there was a lot of people interested. First with the ulama. I remember how many ulama I have met throughout these years and muftis showing a gold dinar and telling them, what is this? And I had to explain to them, this is a gold dinar, 4.25 grams, this is the weight of the mithqal, and this is the dirham, and so on. And they were all shocked. They didn't know. The memory had been lost. But we moved quickly from North Africa into Turkey. And the key moment in the expansion of the gold dinar was when Necmettin Erbakan came into power in the late 90s in coalition with Mrs. Chiller, those who know history will remember. And he was the first political leader to say the gold dinar is the currency of the Muslims. And he called for the unity of the Muslims, all the ummah to have a single currency. And when he announced it in Turkey, it went straight to the Wall Street Journal. And it was for the first time the gold dinar mentioned in the front line, the front page of an American newspaper. Then it was Mahathir in the year, around the year 2000. Every time he came to Europe, I sent people to him with a dinar and a dirham.
Yes.
And I said, please tell the Prime Minister, this is the currency of Islam, this is the currency of Islam, this is the currency of Islam.
Right.
After 4 or 5 steps, we managed to have a meeting with him in Putrajaya, and to give him credit, he understood immediately.
Right.
And so he made the announcement, and he went a little bit further. He said, the gold dinar is the currency of the Muslims. And he said something nobody had said before, not publicly at least.
Right.
Paper money is worthless.
Right.
Which is an astonishing statement for a prime minister. So he called the Arabs to stop trading the oil for pieces of paper, because logically, imagine you have one country, United States, they give us pieces of paper, no backing, just piece of paper. Our economy, they say, is the backing. So they give us piece of paper, and we give them oil, aluminium, gas, etc. When they want more, they bring more. Now that's completely irrational, unfair, and it has to go. And the deputy governor told me the IMF has a ruling whereby you can trade with any commodity in the world, anything, except one. Which one is that? Gold.
Cool. How about silver?
No, you can use silver, but
not gold.
And why? It's because gold potentially is the only challenge to the US dollar.
Shaykh Umar, it is interesting that you mentioned Tun Dr. Mahathir's name, because it was during his tenure as the Prime Minister of Malaysia that he introduced the Islamic banking system, whereby the Islamic banking system coexisted with the conventional banking system in what we call a dual banking system. So with the advent of the Islamic gold dinar and the existence of the ringgit Malaysia, can these two currencies coexist in a dual currency system? Well,
naturally, those who advocate the gold dinar do not want to eliminate the ringgit. Right. I mean, if, for example, tomorrow we were to change all the ringgits for gold dinar, it will be a disaster for the economy. The economy is not ready for that. You have to do it gradually. So we're talking about parallel currencies, coexistence, necessarily coexistence. Right. Another issue altogether is Islamic banking. Conventional banking, Islamic banking, this dual banking.
Yes.
Okay. Islamic banking, let's make it absolutely clear, is not haram, it's triple haram. You see, a bank is an institution grown out of usury. I mean, the history of banking is usury.
Right.
There is no banks without usury. What you have to look into is that, do we have banks in Islam? And the answer is no. Do we have alternatives to banking? The answer is yes. We have wadiya in Islam. Wadiya is a safekeeping institution. Okay, so you can have a wadiya, you can safekeep money, you can have accounts with them, you can have debit cards, not credit cards, but debit cards, etc., etc. You can have all the facilities that a bank can offer, but not credit. We have, and this process is called Islamization.
Right.
Now, at first it sounds like something great. because everybody wants more Islam in life. But it's not making, what they are doing, Islamization is not making capitalism Sharia compliant. It's making the Sharia compliant to capitalism. It's a reform, not of capitalism, it's a reform of the Sharia. And this is where the second haram comes in. See, they are changing the law, they are changing the way of Islam. They are making the haram halal, and this is unacceptable, even worse than doing riba.
Shaykh Umar, you are known for your provocative thoughts, one of which is saying that Islamic banking is haram. Why do you say that Islamic banking or Islamic finance for that matter is haram, whereby the respective financial institutions, be it at the central bank or the individual banks or at the Securities Commission, have Sharia advisors or what they call Sharia counsel to advise them on whether their operations is halal or haram?
You cannot have a Sharia council which is totally under the salary of the bank. You cannot be the thief and the judge at the same time. You cannot employ the judge to judge you. If you want a Sharia council to analyze Islamic banking, cannot be under the pay of the banks. It has to be completely independent. And I can challenge all the Sharia councils to create an independent body that it will look into Islamic banking properly. Because most of the great improvements that they have done in Islamic banking, they are all to do with contracts that they are forbidden in Islam, let alone the fact that it's a bank, they use paper money, they create fractional reserve banking, and any Malay who wants to look into matter, check Google fractional reserve banking and check out why banking in itself is wrong.
So what will your solution be? I mean, we do it with the banks, or what is the way forward for us to really have an integrated dinar currency within the purview of the Islamic economy? What was...
The first thing that we have to understand, and this is the preliminary idea, is that, is there an Islamic alternative? And the answer is categorically yes. Even if you don't know that there is one, you must know that there is. Have the Muslims been able to live without riba? Of course we have. Okay. Second, where to look? You don't have to look into modern Egypt, or you don't have to go into modern Saudi Arabia to find answers. You have to go to Medina al-Munawwara at the time of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This is the model. This is where you find the wadiyas. Instead of banks, we have wadiyas. This is where you find the souks. This is where you find the caravans instead of Indofoods and major monopoly export companies. Whereas you find the guilds instead of these super factories with one employer and 14,000 employees. Guilds dominated by master apprentice, not employer-employee relationship. That model, all that model is Medina al-Munawwara, and that is muamalat. Because the whole world is crying out of this madness of paper money. There is a group, there is one state in the United States, Utah, capital Salt Lake. They made a convention, a monetary summit, just a few months ago, in which they challenged the federal constitution, and the state of Utah has minted the gold and silver coins, and they have given them free to the people. Now, if the Americans are ready to do that, I think the Muslims are ready to go even a little bit further. What is important is that that summit was, they invited us, we couldn't come on time. But at the end of the summit, in the last speech, it was acknowledged that the developments made by the Muslims in Malaysia are ahead of any other attempt to bring gold currency anywhere in the world. That was an amazing acknowledgement. There are many others that they are now saying the US dollar is finished. So this is the irony of the times. There are more people against the US dollar in the United States than in Saudi Arabia. There are more people supporting the US dollar in Kuala Lumpur, percentage-wise, than there is in the United States. And why? It's because the intellectuals have not come out of the box yet. And this is what we need. This program is an opportunity to inspire intellectuals to think outside the box, to think into another paradigm in which Islam is not something of the past, regrettable and shameful, but on the contrary, is the glory, is the illumination, is the light of the world. We have to look into that model and put it into practice.
The interview with Shaykh Umar represents the thoughts of him and a growing segment of the Muslim community. It must be noted, however, that the Central Bank of Malaysia or the Bank Negara Malaysia, the Securities Commission of Malaysia, and the other respective Islamic financial institutions have their own Sharia Advisory Councils, otherwise known as the SAC. The SAC comprises of religious scholars from Malaysia and other countries who advise the institutions on the Sharia compliance of their operations. And they sold him for a reduced price, a few dirhams, and they were, concerning him, of those content with little. Yusuf, chapter 12, verse 20. Abu Bakr ibn Abi Maryam reported that he heard the Messenger of Allah say, "A time is certainly coming over mankind in which there will be nothing left that will be of use or benefit, save a dinar, a gold coin, and a dirham, a silver coin." Hadith Musnad Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal.